is we'll wait a couple minutes to see who comes in. And then again, I'm on YouTube, so I guess I can just start. It's gonna record everything anyways. So we'll pause the music. Get rid of the music completely. Okay, so the controversy that people have been asking about, I posted on YouTube. I have YouTube over here, TikTok over here. The controversy concerning Yoshiatsu is allegations of grooming. Grooming somebody that was a minor at one time but is still like 30 years. 30? I don't know why I'm losing my train of thought. Somebody who's significantly younger than him. Okay, so that's the issue. Some messages were released by a person claiming to be the friend of a person who dated Yoshiatsu. The person was 18. Yoshiatsu is 38. I don't know if he had a birthday recently and is 39. I don't know, but late 30s, damn near almost 40. Might as well be 40, right? And the girl was 18. Apparently they met when she was 17 and they started dating when she was 18. So that's the big controversy. Yoshiatsu has been in controversy before, and we're not going to talk about any of those other controversies because I don't have the bandwidth. This is already a huge topic to cover, but let's just say that Yoshiatsu has had controversies before, particularly when he was in Dararoma, on Tanuki. Like, we're going to focus on this, and we're also going to focus on this one victim. I don't know if more people have come forward, actual victims have come forward about Yoshiatsu in a negative way, but as far as this person is concerned, the person that he dated, they don't want him to be in trouble. They don't want any issues. They don't want any drama. And that's their stance on it. It really is just their ex-friend or ex-best friend who put the information out there and shared it for everybody to read. So what I'm going to do is look at my notes, because I had to get notes. This is like a really big, oh, hi, Kira! Good to see you! I don't know how long you'll be able to stay. I hope you're able to stay for the whole video. If you see me chatting to other people, it's because I'm on TikTok live as well. Okay. Oh my god, did I print out? Okay, this is a lie for another time. I was supposed to come on here and talk about Kizu disbanding, and I was going to try to fit it all into a video, but I'm not doing that. I gotta have a separate live because I need to be in a different place mentally. I was going to talk about Kizu disbanding, and I have the notes for that in my hand, so let's get rid of those. Did I print out the right notes? Aw, come on. Are you serious? Okay, what do I do? I need my notes, guys, because I have points that I need to go through, and if I don't have them, I'm going to ramble on. So give me a minute. I am so sorry that I'm not prepared. Let me print the notes out, and I'm going to continue playing music. I will be back, okay? I'll be back. Okay, we're printing them now. I promise we're printing them now. Just trying to make sure there's no commercial. What are we going to choose? Come on. You choose Sword Knocker. Why not? Alright, I'll be back.
Need better internet? Cox Internet has the fast, reliable speeds you're looking for. Get Cox 300 meg internet with a 2-year plan, price lock guarantee, plus equipment included. Switch today. Taxes and fees excluded from price guarantee.
Gotta reattach my mic, guys. Give me a second. Should pause YouTube, but I don't know how to do that. Okay. I hope you guys can hear me okay. I feel like it's pretty decent. Sorry, knocking. Gotta go off. Okay. Whew, let's get started. Okay. Get my notes set here. Don't worry, guys. I'm going to read to you guys all of the words that the person, the best friend, the ex-best friend posted about Yoshiatsu and her ex-best friend's relationship. I wish I could just give him a random name. Let's just say Lori. Let's just call her Lori. I'm sure she put her name somewhere, but I don't got the time. So I already gave you guys the intro to the accusations. And there have been previous accusations about Yoshiatsu before concerning other things, mostly like erratic behavior in relationships and partnerships. If there are any other allegations about grooming specifically, I don't remember. It's been a long time since Donnarumma has been around. Okay. One thing I want to mention before reading this. No, matter of fact, let me just read the stuff first. Maybe it's better if I read this stuff. So we're starting. This is I had to print it all out because these are what the friend posted. Let's just call her Lori. Let me write that down because I will forget that I'm calling her Lori. So Lori, random name person, posted that she used to be friends with somebody who used to date Yoshiatsu. And I'm going to start. Find the right page. I tried to get organized before starting, but never works out, man. Never pans out. I wanted to use natural sunlight and everything. Okay, so this is what this person posted. So in short, I was, keep in mind, was best friends with someone who had a relationship with Yoshiatsu. But she is 18 years old while Yoshiatsu, this is a very young person posting this. So I might have to pause because they're not able to structure a sentence well. So if I pause, that's why. But she is 18 years old while Yoshiatsu, which most of us would know, is 38 years old. This is going to be painful, guys. I'm sorry. This had been going on for 6 months, and there are also many things that go into this. So it will be broken down into different stories that will be saved on highlights/posts. And I do beg of you to spread this information to others as well. This dates back to October of last year, 2025, when Chloe had told me she was talking with Yoshiatsu after she had been to his concert. And just to note, she was an exchange student in Japan. Chloe was supposedly 17 at the time when they first started talking with each other. Later turned 18 in the same month, and when Yoshiatsu had asked how old she was, she told him she is 18, basically having a 19 to 20 year age gap. But Yoshiatsu didn't seem to mind the huge age difference. By legal terms, that most may have, I swear to God, by legal terms, that means, yes, she is technically an adult. I'm substituting words here because, my God. By legal terms, that means she's an adult. Yes, she is technically an adult, but it shouldn't be okay ever morally for someone who is way older and has practically lived half of his life to go after someone who had just become an adult and is getting started with life through her whole adult experience. Again, sorry, I have to substitute words because this is gibberish. Not to mention, when he talked about her age, he said he would prefer if she didn't really tell him because she was too young. Because if she was too young, it would be a crime. And I promise you, he knew what he was doing. Back then, I had little experience on relationships and had never dated anyone. I grew up in a Mexican household, and I first had thought that as long as both parties are adults, then it should be fine. But I still had a gut feeling that maybe this relationship that they maybe this is a relationship that they shouldn't have. And even when I would question it to Chloe, she used the excuse that she had enough experience as an adult. By that, she had sex with other guys, a smoke addiction, and was an alcoholic, substituting again because the grammar issues. In this completely different idea of what love should be, supposedly she's saying basically that Chloe had a different idea of what love should be from having plenty experience from past relationships. That's what she's trying to say here. And because I was her best friend, she seemed genuinely happy. This sentence just flat out doesn't make any sense. We're going to skip it. She seemed genuinely happy. Chloe seemed genuinely happy. There were occasional red flags here and there, though. He would even ask her disgusting things, such as asking her to... Do you think? No, I feel like that phrase is going to be flagged. Sorry, guys. I'm also on TikTok, YouTube. I'm on TikTok. So there's certain words I can use on TikTok. There's self-pleasure. We're going to say that. She also, such as asking her to self-pleasure for him, and more explicit details that I won't even go into. But the whole relationship was just a mess. Yoshiatsu had done things that had put Chloe into emotional and physical vulnerability. Even when she would turn back to alcohol or cigarettes, substituting here, she would turn back to alcohol and cigarettes, and we would have video calls, and it was like watching her poison herself. That was a big chunk. I even had tried to tell her to talk about the issues in the relationship with Yoshiatsu or cut things off with him, but she refused to do so either. She refused to do so. He had mentioned and made some comments about her age back during Christmas season, saying she's too pure and beautiful for him to touch and that he is a monster. Also mentioning, no, that doesn't, let's just skip those three words altogether. Takashi, as we know as the former, I'm trying to be nice. Takashi, as we know as the former guitarist of Dararoma and current guitarist of the Madna, had talked with Chloe before about their relationship, saying that he had never seen Yoshiatsu be in an actual relationship before, but not making much comments about the age gap. I don't remember if Takashi knew about the age gap or not, and I'm pretty sure to Chloe... Give me a second, I gotta figure out how I'm gonna change this sentence to make it make sense. She basically said that she feels like Yoshiatsu's bandmates and Fukuro were aware of the age gap in their relationship. That's what she's trying to say here. There were ups and downs in their relationship. The amount of times Chloe had cried to me because of him. There were many times Chloe had cried to me because of him, and the next day everything would be okay. Me being an empathetic person, sometimes I cried after seeing her drink or get voicemails of her crying. We're going to power through it. Of her crying while drunk, and 16-year-old me felt absolutely powerless to do anything, and I had absolutely no way to even travel to help her. She had the biggest fantasies. They were supposed to meet back in January, but that got canceled because he gave her the excuse that he had mental health problems. And even before he had given her such high hopes of meeting her only to crush her hopes down and leaving her on this spiral if he even loved her or not while even talking to him. Eventually later, Chloe wasn't doing well, and that made her excessively drink and smoke because Yoshiatsu had left her on that spiral, even mentioning suicidal tendencies because of the belief that Yoshiatsu didn't love her drama. Give me a second, I don't know what this says. Okay, so her friend, the person who wrote all this, again, Lori, I wrote it down so I remember. Lori is basically saying that she saw her friend in this state and decided to contact Yoshiatsu. Contact him, and I told him that I knew about their relationship and begged him to talk to her carefully to help her. I guess he kind of did, but he also got pissed about the fact that I knew about their relationship. He even showed a screenshot of my profile from Instagram and asked Chloe about me and what did I know about their relationship. Chloe called me at school and she understood that I was trying to help her at her lowest state, but she made me create a fake text saying that I did some mistranslation and I was drunk. Parentheses, I did not drink alcohol whatsoever. Somehow Yoshiatsu believed it. They put in parentheses, I guess he's a predator, old and stupid. Things between them seemed to have gotten better. Things between them had seemed to have gotten better, and they met around late March, supposedly meeting at a hotel of sorts. And as you can see in this picture, that she sent, it shows similar sweatpants and boots that he commonly wears. So there's pictures. If you're on TikTok, go type in Yoshiatsu controversy. All of the pictures of this text should pop up, and it'll probably be way easier for you to read and you to substitute compared to me doing it, because this is tough, okay? A lot of typos. It is all over the place, but I also understand the person's very young. So, but there are pictures, and it does look like Yoshiatsu. Not gonna lie, when I saw the pictures, I was like, oh, that's him. Okay, cool. Only one of them, I think, shows a little bit of his face in it, but the fact that very convincing pictures, okay? So anyways, where was I? I shouldn't have even said anything, because now I don't even know where I am. Give me a second. Things between them seemed to have gotten better. They met around late March and met at a hotel. As you can see in this picture it shows him wearing blah blah blah, the stuff he commonly wears. Chloe told me the details of their meeting. Supposedly they watched a movie, smoked weed, and then had sex together. And supposedly too, he gave her a $1,000 Chrome's heart designer ring and a 10,000 yen. They didn't even put what the 10,000 yen thing was. Maybe it's just 10,000 yen. He paid her. Okay, cool. Romantic, question mark. I thought so back then, but he was probably just throwing money away to continue manipulating her into loving him. And supposedly he wanted to meet her again a little before July, before she had to leave back to her home country from doing the exchange program. After their meet, period, me and Chloe had some personal issues together, which I won't go into details and specifics. She only turned out to be a major B word and A word after I had spoken up about something, and she treated me like a child just because she's the mature adult and I'm not. And the whole ordeal caused me to cry and have meltdowns at school and and I was crying myself to sleep because I had genuinely trusted her as a best friend. And even after our first few arguments and not talking to me for days, she spammed my DMs begging me to talk to her. And it wasn't an apology. She asked if I had DM'd Yoshiatsu, and in which I did not. And supposedly someone that I didn't know, and Chloe didn't know either, had told Yoshiatsu that Chloe is 16 and that they would leak their relationship if they didn't break up. Just to note, yes, she is 18 years old. Still doesn't make the age gap any better, and that's when their whole relationship went up in flames. Yoshiatsu had called Chloe the devil in human skin and worse than a rapist, which I found both enraging. Oh my god, TikTok might shut my life down for saying that. My bad, guys. Which I found both enraging and disgusting that he would say that when he knew what he was doing messing with someone as young as Chloe is. Yoshiatsu dropped Chloe so fast, too, And I bet it was because he knew that if this got out, he would be in deep trouble. And even after their relationship went up in flames, our friendship was still broken. She kind of apologized, but still disregarded what she did and how badly it affected me more than it did for her. After the breakup, she got kicked out of the student program and abused the hell out of alcohol and drugs. That only poisoned her more, and I swear she started acting like Yoshiatsu, and it completely broke our friendship. I cut off all ties with her, and never do I even want to be friends with her ever again. Is that all? Whew. Any comments? This is from the alleged friend. So that was, I'm sorry guys, that was like difficult to get through. Hello, switch to YouTube Live. Yeah, I'm also on YouTube, guys. Because yeah, cool. If my mic goes dead, please let me know. So, supposed friend posted pictures and text messages. I'm going to describe some of those to you. Again, if you're just joining in, you can find this on TikTok. Go on TikTok and type Yoshiatsu allegations, and you will find the actual pictures. This is in black and white because I cannot afford colored ink. And I'm going to have to squint in order to see it because obviously it's a mess. So these are some text messages. I'll try my best. I don't expect there to be an official confirmation. Like, I don't expect for Yoshiatsu to come out and be like, yeah, I was dating somebody who was 18. I think what we're going to get is a very well-crafted PR comment on the situation. So this is kind of one of those things where I personally don't feel like the story is false, but if you feel like the story is false, that's fine. My reasoning is because of previous allegations, the nature of the messages, and also the pictures. But if you guys believe it didn't happen, totally great. We're going to act as if this is legit. I will be making some comments about the situation. So if you're somebody who like is on the side of Yoshiatsu in this, which I understand why it would be easy to be on his side, considering like he is the person that we have this like this parasocial connection to. Like, I get it, right? If you're somebody who is on Yoshiatsu's side, I will speak to that as well because I have a lot to say. I have a lot to say to this. But let's just say Yoshiatsu has been in trouble many times, and it gets to a point, okay? There are several bandmen, several bands. It gets to a point when it's similar stories or certain types of stories of a certain type of nature with specific bandmen. And I'll tell you, how do I phrase this? There are some aspects of this that I feel like are disingenuous, and I will get to that really quickly. Okay, so just describing some text messages. Supposedly, what's the chick's name again, Sita? I forgot that fast. Lori. We're calling her Lori. Supposedly, Lori got these messages. Her best friend at the time sent her these messages between her, Chloe, her and Yoshiatsu. Bro, I actually don't feel like reading these. Okay, there's one text from Yoshiatsu. I don't care how old you are, but if you're too young, it becomes a crime. This is just a translated screenshot. See. Oh my god. Yeah, I can't do this, guys. I'm just going to generalize here. So there is a message where he's asking if he can put clown makeup on her, Chloe. And then she says, I want to do it too. Then we can join in together. He's like, yeah, put on clown makeup and have sex. And she said, I'll do it when we meet. So Yoshiatsu has requested pictures of his fans in clown makeup before. So that's interesting to me. Women specifically in clown makeup, he said he finds it sexy, attractive. He loves it when girls wear clown makeup. So, some things in here I'm just like, okay, that tracks. That sounds like him. Let me see. Sorry, guys. Again, my printer's in black and white. Here he says, it really took a lot of courage to send me a picture, right? And then she says, it's interesting, I'm the opposite, and since I was little, I've been taught not to see each other naked. So basically, the discussion of nudes. And then she says, Chloe says, he didn't expect to fall in love with me. Duh. That's something that she's telling her friend. Let me see. Is there anything else that's like kind of important? There's one picture in here that I'm not finding where he was like telling her that she would make a good, it was more like an uplifting comment about her profession. I think it was a lawyer. I don't know. But just, you guys got to find this yourself. I'm so sorry. Yes. Hugs for drugs. This story sounds like it was shared out of ill intent. That is my main issue. There's a specific part that I really hated about this. Again, there are some aspects that I believe are true. Like, I do believe that Yoshiatsu had a relationship with this person. But my main issue is I think these messages were not released for that person's sake. I think these messages were released as revenge because they no longer talk. And the girl felt, Lori, we're calling her Lori. Lori felt slighted by the whole situation with Chloe dating Yoshiatsu and her and Chloe's relationship falling apart. So she decided to release these as some type of revenge. Mind you, these are all teenagers. So I imagine the emotions are high in this situation. And here's what I really didn't like. Reading this really, really upset me because it kind of gives you a sense of like the mindset of the person who released the messages. Let me see. Give me a second. I gotta figure out what. This really pissed me off when I read this. She kind of apologized, but still disregarded what she did. And, oh my God, I gotta substitute again. She kind of apologized, but disregarded what she did and how badly it affected me more than it did for her. I don't like that. This girl, Chloe, being in a relationship with somebody who is 38 years old and going through the emotional ups and downs with this person, right? And also, you know, supposedly has not the best home life. I'll more on that later. You were the person she confided in. So yes, you were emotionally distressed while she was confiding in you and you cared for her and you were worried about her. But there's no way in hell that you went through more than she did. This is what made me upset, and this shows that this whole thing, all of this being spread on the internet, was spread out of ill intent, as Hugs for Drugs said. So that's my main issue with this. Despite believing that this did indeed happen, at least the facts of Yoshiatsu dating somebody 18, I do believe it. But I don't feel like Lori had Chloe's best. You know what I mean. You know what I'm trying to say. I don't think she was doing what was best for Chloe. I think she was just pissed. She was like, oh, okay, we're no longer friends. Well, I'm going to tell all your business. That way you're hurt and Yoshiatsu's hurt. This is your fault for treating me poorly when I was just your friend and I was trying to support you. And this is Yoshiatsu's fault for being a weird creep who's dating a teenager. Not the best. Yes, thank you. Not the best for his interest in mind. Because why would you tell... I do believe that this is valuable information for us to have, okay, to kind of just know how Yoshiatsu is moving, right? But why would you tell your best friend's business like this? Like, you know, not to blame Chloe, but you guys gotta be careful who you're befriending, especially like 16 and 18 may not seem like Somebody subscribe. Thank you. I didn't know that's the sound that makes when somebody subscribes. 16 and 18 may not seem like a huge age difference, but mentally, the erratic behavior is still a little bit different. So what you have is an 18-year-old confiding in a 16-year-old, and the 16-year-old is like, woe is me, this is so hard for me, I had it worse than you, having to hear about your relationship and see you spiral. The whole part, I don't like it. How badly it affected me more than it did for her. When I read that, I was just like, ooh, it doesn't seem like this person has Chloe's best interest in mind. So that's what I think this is. Like I said, I do believe Yoshiatsu had a relationship with this person. But I don't like how this was handled. Like, if you truly cared for your friend and you thought like they were going through something and you wanted to keep them safe, this would all be phrased differently. And then also it would have been released sooner. Sooner. So that's my major issue. I'm glad, I'm just going to call you Hugs. I'm glad Hugs brought it up, because reading this, I was just like, this feels very targeted towards both the ex-best friend and towards Yoshiatsu. A lot of anger and like, ranting, like, I was there for you, and you know, our friendship ended, and he's weird and he's a creep. So yeah, that's how I feel about that. I'm gonna catch up on comments real quick, guys. I will try to answer what I can. Give it like 5 minutes. You guys know I have like a daily timer that I put on to do like my daily activities, because I lose track. Like I lose concentration like really fast. Okay, I'm gonna catch up with YouTube real quick. Chow, what a mess. Not gonna lie, I was side-eyeing him after that one discourse of him grabbing up on women at concerts without consent. His hardcore fans were defending it. Sorry, I'm not talking at the moment, Kirong. It's okay. You're dyeing your hair. Okay, so with the concert thing, I think consent is important, but I don't think that type of behavior. What type of grabbing are you talking about? Because I don't think that type of behavior at a rock concert, especially when you have people, let's just say women. Women. Sometimes it happens to men, but mostly women, especially when you have a whole bunch of like female fans of predominantly male or all male groups of rock groups. Some of them pull you onto stage. Some of them, you know, do different types of things. So I do understand the concern for consent, but I could see a concert being an environment where things are happening that may not happen in other instances. I don't know how to describe it. So yeah, I think consent is important, but I could see why his hardcore fans were defending it. Sorry, I started daydreaming because I was thinking about like a concert, and if a guy was like, is it okay if I, and then you're like, yeah, oh, that's so hot. Okay, time and place to that. Time and place. Consent's sexy. So I was just daydreaming, what if somebody did ask? That would be really hot. But a lot of times it doesn't happen. So I do understand that being an environment where stuff like that happens and women are like, oh, it's okay, you know, it's okay, I'm all right, I'm having a blast. I can see that being a thing. I started daydreaming, guys. I'm sorry about that. It sounds like she released for revenge. Yep, just being petty makes a lot of sense. Apologies if my responses don't make sense. I'm behind in the live. No, hugs for drugs. That is hilarious. I just processed. That's hilarious. I don't think people should be jumping Yoshiatsu's butt for this and just despising him for it. I will mention something along the lines of that. Ray is online. I understand her feelings. Yes, I understand her feelings are horrible, but she only witnessed the situation. She didn't live through it. Yes, that is my biggest issue. And you did not think of your ex-best friend's mental health when you decided to just do this randomly? like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just a little different. Like, even if I had a falling out with somebody, I would think about how information like this would emotionally crush them. It's not about Yoshiatsu. It's about you have this friend who confided in you, and you're just releasing all of their business after you guys are no longer friends. Seems very ill-spirited. Okay, TikTok. Now, TikTok is hard to catch up with because people comment so often. And I would try my best. Okay. Oh, I'm already scared. Bear with me, YouTube. Okay, bear with me. Didn't Yoshiatsu also have previous allegations? I've heard about some previous ones. Yeah. Oh, okay, focusing. We're only focusing, Ray, on the current allegations. Because nobody got time for that. Nobody got time for all that. So I'm sure there will be somebody who comes and consolidates all of Yoshiatsu's allegations. There's somebody out there, some teenager somewhere who has the passion and the time. I don't. No, I love you guys, though. God bless you, not forcing religion at all. Best intentions, bless you. Love the parentheses, Jaden. Love the disclaimer. Likewise, God bless you too. I don't mind, Sana. Christianity doesn't bother me. No religion bothers me. I'm guessing their English is so bad because it isn't their first language. They said Mexican, so maybe Spanish is their first language. So I'll stop being mean. I didn't consider that. I didn't even think about the fact maybe Spanish is their first language. Or were they saying that Chloe was Mexican? No, they were saying they were Mexican, I think. Anyways, wait, is this all evidence from the friend? Because the victim apparently said most of that was fake. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I think them dating was real, and I think those text messages were real, but I think the friend, selectively posted screenshots. You know how people selectively post things to make it seem like something worse than what it is? That's what I think that they are. I don't think this person went and created a whole bunch of fake messages. First of all, this is going to sound a little mean. I gotta rephrase what I'm going to say. Okay, I'm just going to say it. They can barely form a sentence. If they are not an English speaker, I'm so sorry, or like a fluent English speaker, I'm so sorry, but I don't think they went and doctored all that up. They can barely get through a story without past tense and present tense being I don't think they made that, okay? But I do think they purposely, because there's stuff that's scribbled out, there's certain messages that have been sent, it's been edited as far as like certain things have been left and certain things have been like crossed out. So I think they carefully selected certain messages to make things seem worse than what they are. But at the bare minimum, so say all the story's fake, or at least, the details of the story's fake about the spiraling and stuff, I do believe he was dating this person because the victim came out and said they were dating and they were an adult at the time. And the age is 18. They gave their birthday. They said they were born in 2006. And that means right now they're 19. And as of this year, they're 19. And they're going to be turning, because they said they were born in October. I did all the research and stuff. I consolidated it. They're going to be turning 20 this year. So that, at the bare minimum, even if you don't believe this happened and the friend told the story in a really crazy way, I do believe that Yoshiatsu was dating this person, and the person has come forward and said, yes, me and them were dating, but I was an adult, because technically 18 is an adult. Let me see. Man, that sucks. I'm still trying to understand everything since there's a lot to take in. Quite sure both evidence is alleged, so I guess we need to see until there's official confirmation. Okay. How do you think they're investigating him? I wonder about his management. I don't know how seriously Japan takes dating people who are of the age of 18. I feel like that's one of the things that, like, over here we kind of shun, but I feel like in Japan, if you're dating an 18-year-old, it's not seen as bad. Like, there's not as many thoughts. There's like a superficial level of, yeah, this person's at a different point in life, or maybe they just got out of high school. Like, there is that, but there's not your frontal lobe is literally not developed. I think because Japan has so many issues with people literally messing with minors, because there's like bigger fish to fry, I don't think it's going to be treated the same way as like some Westerners are treating it. I don't think they're going to be as disturbed. I think it really is going to be a case where it's like, okay, the girl's 18, she's legal. I feel like this is more so about maintaining drugs and Fukuro's international image, Yoshiatsu's international image, more than anything. You know, trying to come up with a way to make it so fans internationally kind of pipe down. And that's not to say that there are no Japanese fans that find an issue with this. I just think the nature of the society doesn't frown upon dating somebody 18 when you're significantly older as much as we do, because of the problems that they already have with engaging with minors not being taken seriously, if that makes sense. Excess mess. It's mostly international fans that are freaking out. Yeah, so I don't think Fukuro and drugs, or like the companies, right? I don't think it's as big of a deal to them, but I do think they realize that they have to fix this in some way in order to save face. If they want that international success, and if they want to continue to get support from an international audience, it is something that they are going to have to address. Let me see. Any young girls watching this, stay out of Band's DMs. It's not safe. Listen, I understand what you're saying, Sand, but like, frontal lobes not developed. You're a teenage hormonal girl. You're making stupid decisions. You're like, hey, let me DM this bandman. Let me get his attention. Even if you don't think it'll lead to anywhere. You just attention. Choose me. Pick me. I love you. I want you to know how much you love me. It is an adult's responsibility to turn down minors. It's an adult's responsibility always to turn down minors. Men who, rock stars, men in bands, they're going to have teenage girls attracted to them. It's just one of those things. Especially in visual K. Your job as an adult is to shut them down and not engage. If you want to date somebody young and say you're 38, just stick with the 20s. I would feel completely different about this if it was like a 20-year-old or a 21-year-old. You know, I would still be like, ooh, it's kind of not a good look, but hey, man, YOLO. Like, hey, it could have been worse. Like, it'd be completely different if we were talking about somebody in their 20s, even though that's still gross. I mean, the victim has said that the screenshots the friend shared were fake. XSS, and I'm telling you that I don't believe that part of the story. I'm telling you that I believe that the screenshots are real and they've just been presented in a way that makes the story seem worse than it is. Now, you could be mad at me and be like, hey, well, the victim said this and you're not believing the victim. I don't care. This is about my opinion. If you want to believe everything that the victim says, who right now from TikTok that I've watched is very distressed right now and is really worried about the reputation of Yoshiatsu. If you want to believe them, that's fine. Me, I don't believe those messages were fake. So, yes. I think it is a fetish thing. Okay, I'm gonna try to analyzing Yoshiatsu's allegation. Wow. Leave me alone, AI! It's a big gap mentally. Yes. Their frontal lobe hasn't even developed. What do you think they're doing to investigate? Okay, I already read that. Girl, we talking about Yoshiatsu today? Yes. I'm pretty sure there's something mentioned that management posted, but it was vague. Of course it's vague. I freaking hate Japanese PR. Ooh. Like, Japanese PR pisses me off so much. I know someone who knows multiple people who slept with Yoshiatsu before. I'm only concerned if they're under the age of 18. And if they are, am I disappointed? Yes. Am I shocked? No. Because visual kei bandmen have been known to sleep with minors, especially Japanese minors. Unfortunately, it is a common occurrence. And they say he's not the type to do stuff like this. I don't know. All of this evidence seems sudden. I think so too. Like I said, I think that the person was just like mad and realized that Fukudo was growing and drugs was growing. And mind you, this is some pretty heavy stuff to put out there. And Yoshiatsu is in the wrong for dating an 18-year-old, right? To me, at least to me, which we'll get there. But I'm going to keep that thought to myself. I just think they were upset and they were tired of seeing Yoshiatsu everywhere, you know, considering they're a visual kei fan. And they were like seething. So they were like, I'm going to just put this information out there and watch things crash and burn. And again, if we were starting with a visual kei bandman who had no allegations of anything ever, then my perspective would be a little different. But that's not the case. Which I said I wasn't going to talk about his other allegations. Let me see. But Killing Days is investigating and they're European, so I think they're going to take it more seriously. I didn't know that, Alexander. I didn't know Fukudo was under... Killing Days is Fukudo's label, is it? Isn't it? I didn't know they were under a European label. Or is the founder European? I would like to know more about that, Alexander. He didn't commit a crime this time, but he did say, I don't care how old you are. That sounds wrong. Yeah. It does sound wrong. I feel like Japan does it. I'm hoping it's a translation, a mistranslation. I'm going to go back to that. I feel like Japan does not care about at all, unfortunately. Yeah, I don't think Japan cares. I think it's really common for teenage girls to sleep with visual kei bandmen in Japan. So this is definitely something that would be taken more seriously or would cause more outrage amongst international fans, which is an audience that they're trying to appeal to. Dude, okay, Charlie, Fukuro's upcoming visit to Mexico is doomed now. I actually was planning on booking a trip to Mexico to see that because they didn't have any upcoming trips to the U.S. So I was actually planning. I had my documents ready. I was planning on booking a trip to Mexico City, to see Fukudo in October. And now I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think they're going to get this all under wraps by October. Let me see. I just started Anji Taki. I just started listening to Fukudo before all this. Can VK bandmen just leave minors alone? Yes, minors and teenagers, because there is a distinct difference. I understand what people are trying to say when they're saying, hey, she was of legal age. But the man is almost 40 years old. In what world? We'll get there. Killing Days manages like a heap of bands for their European tours and stuff. They represent both. Okay. I miss your news update videos. Aw. Okay. Let me see. I think Killing Days is keeping it vague to keep Yoshiatsu's reputation, as you said. Yeah, because, I mean, Fukudo's doing well. Yoshiatsu's doing well, you know, as a, I'm going to say public figure in this case. Has nothing, no business dating an 18-year-old. True people get attached to bandmen. Am I tapping the right thing? I've known Yoshiatsu for only a year and I've already been warned about him, so yeah. I don't know why people are concerned about his reputation when it's his own actions that cause it to get worse. Yeah, dude. 20s aren't great, but they're better than a damn teenager. And that will be my argument every time. It's just like, you couldn't go up a couple years? I don't even like that, but you couldn't, like... 20-year-olds look young. Like, if that's what you're going for. Anyways, I would like to make a distinction. Oh my God. Okay, let me see. Okay, so somebody on TikTok, they have an account under the name May. This is regarding what the victim messaged a person. She wanted a person to not advocate, but she wanted somebody, a creator, to send this message to the public, right, and let people know. I'm not going to. If you want to go on TikTok, YouTube people, go on TikTok, Yoshiatsu allegations, find the creator named May. They made a video where they said the actual victim emailed them and wanted to give them a message. They did say that all of the messages are fake, and they said that them, Yoshiatsu, and them dated when she was already a teen. Well, sorry, not already a teen. My bad. Slip there. When she was already an adult, 18. And I just wrote down the most important points because the creator had like a really hard emotional time getting through it. So I had to put it on like 2x speed, which I get it. You know, a lot of people are emotional about the situation. But this is the gist of what she said. I'm going to put the links, YouTube, I'm going to put the links to all of the creators that I'm going to talk about in the description once the video's done. I got to do it later, but. So this is basically what the victim messaged this person. She said she was an adult when her and Yoshiatsu started talking. She was born in October 2006, which would make her 19 right now. And then in October, she'll turn 20. So it tracks, you know, her being 18 when her and Yoshiatsu were talking. How the situation is making them, she had a troubling home life. She mentioned this in her message to the TikToker, that she had a very troubling home life. And, you know, when she returned from Japan, she got kicked out of her home, and she was going through a lot of things emotionally because of the situation. And she mentioned that the situation was making her want to self-harm. And how she plans on unaliving herself because of this whole thing. Sorry if that's a really heavy topic, but I wanted to make sure that I conveyed that the victim, now that this information has been put out, is very, very distressed about the situation. And they also emphasize that Yoshiatsu is a good person, and, you know, does not deserve all of this. And they also mentioned very brave of the victim that they forgive their friend. Oh, okay, that's fine. Restricted for 10 minutes. Ooh, okay, so I'm so sorry, guys. I'm gonna have to restart my live in like 10 minutes unless you're already here. Let me see. Is anybody there? Just send like a message, because I don't know if I was kicked off or not, because I was talking about self-harm stuff. Sorry. Okay, somebody's here. Okay, good. I'm going to restart the live in 10 minutes just so I can make sure people can still come in here, because TikTok is really weird about that. But basically, they said they forgive their friend despite everything, and that they were gonna, you know, we don't know the status of the victim and if they actually went through with that, but that is something that was important to mention. And if you want to find this video of this TikToker conveying that message to us, a message that the victim had sent her, the person's name is May on TikTok. Type in Yoshiatsu allegations and then click May's video. You'll find her. Just look. I want to point out that this was an individual. The victim was a person who had a really bad home life and already had other issues with like smoking and drinking. And usually when a person like that finds themselves in a relationship with an older person, it's not the best trajectory. So we're about to get into the 18-year-old, 38-year-old dynamic that is problematic. Supposedly, what the friend said was that they actually met at a concert when Chloe was 17. But I'm going to carry on with this video because the victim did say that she was 18 or that she was an adult by the time they started talking. Mind you, she said talking, so I'm guessing she meant dating. I'm going to carry on as if Yoshiatsu had a relationship with an 18-year-old, not a 17-year-old. An 18-year-old, somebody who is legally an adult. And that's how I'm going to carry on. Because I know it's a technicality, but I mean, it is a difference when you're dating a legal adult versus not a legal adult. There's a word that I want to teach you guys. I guess it is okay that I am banned. Not banned, sorry. That my live has been restricted. Not a lot of people know this, and I know it because of research, and also I am a psych major, right? There are like 3 different categories of being attracted to. I'm just gonna read this my notes because I made sure that I wrote this carefully so that I wouldn't get kicked off of TikTok. So that's why I'm referring to my notes. Okay. Where'd it go? There are 3 different categories, depending on what age group you're choosing from, of being attracted to children, teens, and older teens. They all have different words. People were throwing around the word PDF. Sorry, YouTube. I gotta keep it. Gotta keep it PG. People are throwing that word around and they're not using the word correctly. There is actually a word for people who are attracted to people from the age of 15 to 19. I said this word really crazy in my mind, so sorry. Suddenly, I don't know how to read. Oh, ephebophilia. My bad. I wonder if TikTok will be mad at that. Ephebophilia. Ephebophilia is the primary sexual interest in mid to late adolescence, generally ages from 15 to 19. The attraction to children, teens, and late teens all have separate names in psychology, and it is not the norm. It is not the norm. I'm so tired of people trying to make it normal to be in your 30s, late 20s, 40s, dating 18-year-olds. It is not normal. Being attracted to somebody that young is not normal. Maybe you can get me, maybe you can inspire me to believe you if we're talking about a 25-year-old. Maybe. Okay, cool. You're 40, you find a 25-year-old attractive. Hopefully it's not mentally. You can get me there, but I'm tired of people acting like 18 and 19, specifically we're talking about 18 and 19, being attracted to 18 and 19-year-olds is normal behavior for people that are like late 20s, 30s, 40s. It's not normal behavior, and it has a word, ephebophilia. It's one of the 3. And I'm also tired of people using the word PDF incorrectly. That specific word is for prepubescent children who have not went through puberty yet. There's also a word for children who have or are in the midst of puberty, right? We're talking about 11, 12, 13. Like, there's also a category. There's 3 categories. But for Yoshiatsu, we're talking about ephebophilia, which is 15 to 19. Obviously, there's a difference between if you were messaging a 15-year-old versus a 19-year-old. But I'm just saying, I'm so tired of people acting like this is normal. It is not normal to date teenagers as a grown man. It's not. So yeah, I just wanted to put that information out there so people can stop throwing the word around PDF, because that's not what this is. I do think there's a distinct difference between somebody who is attracted to prepubescent children versus somebody who is attracted to a 19-year-old. Is it problematic? Yes, depending on your age. If you're 22 and you find a 19-year-old attractive, still different area in life. You know, it's just different, right? But I can see that. That doesn't make me mad. You're 38. What are we talking about here? And another thing I want to emphasize, especially, oh God, I don't want to get banned off of TikTok. So I'm going to start with PDFs. So PDFs, one thing I have talked about before, mostly regarding in the anime and fictional realm, because I have controversial feelings on that. The way somebody behaves within an age group plays into the attraction for these people that are attracted to these groups, these three groups of youngins, right? So with teenagers, I'm gonna read this. There's an obsession with them being young, not having life experience, being pure, being untouched, being unsullied, being, and the person who is preying on them being in control of the relationship. Like, it's not just a physical thing. You could tell with some of the messages, even, Yoshiatsu in one of the messages saying, oh, she's pure. He feels like a monster. Like, part of me kind of feels like there's some, I think he has interest in like, kink and stuff. So part of me feels like that fulfills that for him in a way, but some of the ways he was talking, it's just like her being the age that she is was a part of the appeal. And it's just the way he was talking to her in those messages. And that's what it is for teenagers. The obsession with them being young and not having life experience and being able to control, like, that is what's appealing about this demographic of teenager. So, I think it's important when you're reading these messages, when you're reading exchanges between people who are teenagers and people who are super old. Okay, not super old. That's rude. People who are that old. What does the dynamic entail? Like, what's the dynamic like? Is the person taking on a mentor dynamic? Is the person taking on, ooh, I'm this big bad person and, I don't want to sully you? Like, what kind of dynamic are they taking on? And that also plays, because somebody said it's just, I saw this village. Oh my God. Village? What? That's so crazy. I don't know why I came up with that word. I saw this video where this girl was just like, oh, it's just kink. It's no, you guys are just ignorant to what kink is like. And it's just like, no. First of all, there are predators in the kink community. There are predators in the BDSM community, okay? First of all, I remember when I was 18, I was like, okay, baby dom, I'm trying to get some experience. And I hopped on FetLife, and there was like an inherent predatory behavior where people like 50s, 40s, all super excited to talk to me. Me, freshly 18. Like, there are predators in these spaces as well. So yes, no, him being into kink does not mean he's absolved from whatever dynamic he has going on with that, whatever dynamic he had going on with that 18-year-old. It pisses me off when people try to use like predatory behavior or try to cover over predatory behavior with like the kink and like BDSM community. No, there are predators in those communities too. So it's just, it's just gross. So basically, like, anything he said in the messages are creepy as hell. He loves purity. Yes, it's about the sullying, like, oh, you're just so innocent and I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. Yeah, so that plays into, the liking teenagers thing. Or just honestly, I don't want to go over the other two categories because it makes me feel grossed out. But fortunately, I have the stomach to talk about the latter end, ephebophilia. When you're attracted to 15 to 19-year-olds, there's a word for it. It is not normal behavior. Tired of people making it out to seem like it's normal to be attracted to teenagers. It is not. Especially if you're a 38-year-old man. And I also put, like, this is not a game. This is real life. The real mental health of these teenagers are at stake. They're naturally at a disadvantage emotionally because their brains are not developed. And that's the most insidious thing about dating people that are around this age as an old person. I'm just going to say old because 38 is old compared to a freaking 18-year-old, freshly 18-year-old. It's an inherently predatory dynamic. Two consenting adults, but predatory. It's predatory. because there's no way that 18-year-old is going to be able to outthink you. There's no way that 18-year-old is going to be able to govern over their emotions at the level that you can as a 38-year-old. Pisses me off. Like, I don't think you guys, for the people who are defending the relationship because this person is a consenting adult, Yoshiatsu was born in the late 1980s. This person was born in the early 2000s. She put 2006 versus late 1980s. The 80s. Like, what are we doing? So, is there an issue, in my opinion, with somebody that old dating an 18-year-old? Yes, I think it's an inherently predatory dynamic. But can 18-year-olds do what they want to do? Yes. But most of the time, it causes a lot of emotional damage for these young teenagers to be in relationships with these old adults, because emotionally, you're their whole world, because they're not mentally ready to date somebody who has the mental capabilities that you have. So it's just, it's like, it's harmful. That's what it's harmful. You should not be dating teenagers because it's harmful for them mentally. Whatever shenanigans you're putting on, you have all of this life experience, and you're basically in control of the relationship. No matter how much that 18-year-old thinks they're a consenting adult and they think that they are in control and they said yes and you're the best thing in the world, of course they're going to think that. Their brains are not fully developed. So that's what makes it really irritating. And it's interesting because there's a, I don't know if you guys watch, I have a favorite YouTuber. He's a psychiatrist. His name is Healthy Gamer GG. Big fan. Been watching him for years. And it's like, he's more inspiring now because it's like, one day, perhaps, I don't know yet, I haven't decided if I want to be a psychologist or a psychiatrist or a therapist yet. I haven't decided, despite being in the major. But he talks about how he's read some papers showing that there's evidence that your frontal lobe actually doesn't develop into your early 30s. So it's very interesting, the research that's coming out into frontal lobe development. And I think it's more reason to question people when they have a desire to date teenagers. My disposition is that it's almost always because of sex. TikTok, please don't kick me off. Almost always, not even almost, it's always because of sex and control. And it's just like, power, control. Yeah, no, I hate when people loosely throw around terms. It makes things worse. Yeah, dude, PDF, that's not what this is. There is a difference. When I think of PDF, I think of prepubescent kids, and for a reason. That's what the word is used for. So I think people need to stop throwing that word around. Typically, when you have somebody Yoshiatsu's age dating somebody like 18, the word to use is groomer or predator. That's what you usually use. So yeah, I'm just annoyed by that. Give me a second. I'll make sure I covered all my points. Okay, kink community excuse. I already covered that. Okay, so let's talk about Yoshiatsu being an evil person, because this is something that I've seen. This is where I'm probably going to lose some people. So it could be because of my major. But just because I'm upset with this information being released doesn't mean that I'm going to go straight to dehumanizing Yoshiatsu and thinking that Yoshiatsu is an evil person. Personally, not even personally, like, I'm going to tell you guys a very brief story. I had a coworker, right? I work at a shelter, right? And we get a lot of people, different areas of life. And a lot of them, it's a wet shelter, so they're allowed to drink and be strung out on drugs, and just, it's an inviting shelter. Most people can be there. And I met a coworker, like I met somebody there, and hands down, they're the most empathetic person I've ever met in my entire life. Like one time there was this guy, he was going through he was going through withdrawals, or not going through withdrawals. He was on something, and whatever he was on, he was just very belligerent. You know, he was a little violent, and he was just cursing and saying slurs. And we have rules. Like, you cannot be here if you're going to do that. You know, there's a certain amount of being under the influence of drugs that we'll take, and then there's a certain amount that we won't take. And this person, this coworker of mine, sat with that person. The person was hitting them. The person was verbally abusing them. And I was just like, yo, we got to make the call. They got to leave. They can't stay here. And they were, the person, I'm going to say my friend. I'm trying to think of a name. I'm going to say Oliver. And Oliver was like, I don't want them to go out into the cold because they might freeze and die. So Oliver sat there and took all of that person's like punches and verbal abuse, and it literally went on for like 2 hours. I kid you not. And I would continue to work with Oliver at the shelter for a long period of time. And hands down, that is the most empathetic person I've ever met in my life. Because I would be like, listen, you know, this person has to go. And they would be like, well, no, you know, they had a very high tolerance for understanding the people's situation. And I thought I had a really high tolerance. I thought I was a very empathetic person until I met this person. And still this person, Oliver, would go on to tell me a situation where he, as like a late 20, I think it was 29, a 29-year-old slept with somebody who was 18. And after he told me that story, I never looked at him the same. But I'm telling you that story because my point is that people are not perfect in like every area of their lives. I don't believe that if somebody does something bad in one area of their life, that makes them a terrible person in every area of their life. So as far as like the conversation we're having in this specific area of his life, Yoshiatsu is irresponsible and questionable. Behavior is very questionable. Predatory. Yes, this is predatory behavior. But do I think that he is a terrible human being? He deserves to die? Do I think that he's evil in every other aspect of his personality and what he does? My answer is no, but also I don't know him personally. So I think sometimes we're like quick, especially with cases like these, to jump down the throats and label people as like evil or not evil, good or evil, once they do something wrong or once an area of their life is problematic. And I refuse, because of my experiences, to think that way. Now, the friend that I was talking about earlier, I was very distant with him after he told me the story that he did, because I just think it's gross. You're 29, why are you sleeping with an 18-year-old? That's gross. It's gross, it's degenerate, and my view of you has changed. And my view of Oliver has still changed since he told me that story. But he has always been consistently an empathetic person, a very caring person, and a very observant person, and just the most resilient person I know emotionally, as far as like taking crap from people, because he's so empathetic to their situation. And I know people hate to hear it. They hate to hear it. You know, hate to hear that people can be bad in some areas and good in other areas. But I just wanted to point out that's how I'm feeling about this situation. No, I don't think Yoshiatsu is suddenly an evil, demented person because of this information. I just think in this area of life, he's a predator. And I'm not okay with it. I don't think it's okay. I don't care if she's 18. Absolutely human, Hannah. Absolutely, humans are way more complex than that. Yeah, I don't think it's like, don't get me wrong, there are evil people out there. There are people that are evil in multiple categories of their life. But from what it looks like, his issues, Yoshiatsu's issues, are always in relationships, in his romantic life. Whatever he has going on, I don't know. He needs to get it together. But does that take away from everything else that he has going on, like his friendships, the hard work he's putting into these bands, everything else? To me, no. But are people allowed to stop listening to Fukudo because they're uncomfortable with this situation? Absolutely. Because you do have a responsibility as an adult who's a public figure to make sure that you're interacting with your fans in a healthy way. I don't particularly have an issue with bandmen sleeping with their fans. I just think it comes with the territory. But just keep your hands off the teenagers. If you could just do that, like rock in general has a major problem with that. You know, if you look into the past with American rock, there was a huge issue with people sleeping with girls who were like 12, 15, like very young girls. So this has consistently been an issue in music, not even just rock, in music. And I just wish it would go away. I just wish it would go away. Because you do have a responsibility to carry on in a way that makes sense. You know, the spotlight's on you. You need to chill out. Again, was it really hard to just not get somebody in their early 20s? Anyways, in one of the texts, the girl said that that Yoshiatsu was in love with her, and that is also something that I want to point out. She said, he didn't expect to fall in love with me, duh. And it's just like another example of why you don't talk to teenagers. It's like, they're like, I'm so loved. I'm so in love. You know, this person's a public figure. I'm very fond of them. They treat me this way. Oh, we have some bad times, but this and that and this and that. They're going to rationalize why their relationship is perfect with you, especially you being a public figure and somebody they look up to. So it's just, anyways, that's me humanizing Yoshiatsu. And I know people are going to hate that, but I just have to put that in there. For me, I'm not seeing him as this big evil person. I'm seeing him as somebody who needs to be more vigilant about what he continues to do in his romantic life, or else he's going to find himself not being able to be successful to the degree that he would like to, and being, I don't know, being canceled. There's a better phrase for that. I meant like, you know, a block. A block is going to be put there. There's only so much of a reputation you can build up before you are blocked from attaining more success than what you could have had. He needs to be moving wiser. Okay, fine. So you like young women. Can we at least, you're 38, can we at least do an early 20s? That's still weird. Can we at least do a 25? Come on, you're Yoshiatsu. I'm sure you can find somebody to sleep with, to be in a relationship with, to screw, who is in their 20s. Like, anyways. Almost every bandman who constantly interacts with their fan base online will get allegations. Yeah, I disagree with that. There's a lot of bandmen who interact with their fans online and don't get allegations of dating minors. There's so many. Yoshiatsu's pretty big, but there's so many bandmen. Like, there is something to this. Not just, oh, bandmen always get, yeah, there's something to this. Anyways, YouTube. Okay, hopefully I'm not neglecting you guys on YouTube. All right, let me see. Is there any other points I had? Oh my god, did I cover all the points? Do I really? This is the message that Killing Days management put out. Their statement they put out about the situation. We have been made aware of the concerns, allegations, and materials currently circulating online regarding a member of Fukuro, one of the artists we represent. We take these matters very seriously and immediately began reviewing all available information while remaining in direct communication with the artist and his representatives. As an international management agency, Killing Days Management has a responsibility not only to the artists we work with, but also to our community and the public who follow our work. Given the potential impact of this situation on the artist, his band, bandmates, staff, business partners in our agency, it is essential that we carefully review all available information. We encourage anyone with first-hand information or relevant evidence to contact us directly through our official channels and by email, rather than relying on speculation or incomplete information. Furthermore, we respectfully ask everyone to refrain from spreading unverified claims that may compromise the integrity of our review and decision-making process. We appreciate your patience in understanding and will provide further updates regarding the artist and any potential impact on planned overseas activities as soon as we are able to do so. We are committed to handling this matter responsibly, transparently, and with the utmost respect for everyone involved. Thank you for your collaboration. Killing Days Management. You know what? I should have known that this was not a Japanese company because of how thorough this was. This isn't giving Japanese PR, actually. So we'll see what Killing Days Management does. Thank you for mentioning that they were European, because I would not have known that. I was just like, oh, this is not going to be solved the way I would like, or any of us would like for it to be solved, because they're not going to take it seriously. See, I have the drugs one printed out, but it's like fuzzy and weird. So y'all might have to read the drugs one yourself. Do I have anything else? No, that was Kizu. That's about Kizu. Give me a second, guys, to get myself together. If anybody wants to send me any information about this situation, my email is official.savette@gmail.com. I'm putting this purposely in the YouTube video because there might be somebody who watches this and is like, hey, I would like to send you more information. So feel free, again, official.savette@gmail.com. I'm about to restart the live on TikTok, but first let me catch up with the messages, because I know I got a little timeout for talking about self-harm. But before I restart, let me make sure. Oh yeah, again, I want to emphasize, when you are this young dating somebody that old, like, emotionally you're not the most stable. I put here emotionally distraught. The victim said that they were emotionally distraught and it seemed like their whole world was ending. And it's like, when you date somebody that old, they become your whole world, and they're able to manipulate a situation where you do genuinely feel like they're your whole world. I don't think people understand the gravity of damage you do to young men and women dating them at these ages when you're like 2, 3, 4 times their age. Like, it's not okay. And this is coming from somebody who was in a age gap relationship. I know when I was in my mid-20s, so it's a little different. When I was in my mid-20s, I was dating somebody in their 50s. And even I would look at him sometimes and be like, what the hell's wrong with you, man? Why are you dating me? Now, mind you, I don't think there's an issue. I think once you get to the age of like 25 and up, I do understand how you can be visually attracted, right? But having a conversation and having a serious relationship with somebody who's that much younger than you, something is amiss inside of you. if you feel like you can sync with somebody that significantly younger than you. Now, if it's about sex and like entertainment, it's like, okay, fine, but you are weird. But obviously there's a huge difference, in my opinion, dating somebody who's in their mid-20s versus somebody who's like a teenager. It's different, but still weird. But I just mentioned that because I'm okay with age gaps. I do think they're pretty weird, but I'm okay with age gaps to an extent, but it just gets to a point, dude. 38? 1980s. Do you guys understand 1980s? You know how long ago that was? Oh my God. 1980s versus 2008. 2008. Ugh. Okay, let me be professional. All right, is there anything else I want to say? Give me a second. I'm gonna catch up on messages and I'm gonna restart. And you guys can. Sorry, I just zoned out. I was making a plan in my head of what I was gonna do. I think we should stress the fact that killing. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name. I'm gonna call you 5997. That's helpful. I think we should stress the fact that Killing Days staff is, as of June 2026, 100% female. Okay, that's awesome. I didn't know that. Thank you guys for letting me know. So I'm hoping this will be handled in a way that is appropriate. versus just sweeping everything under the rug. I hope they do some type of investigating. And I think people will still keep their feelings. There seems to be a crowd of people, losing my voice. There seems to be a crowd of people who are okay with 18 and 38 because 18 is an adult. I'm never going to be in that crew, but I wonder if that will be the end result. It's like, yeah, this person wasn't a minor, this person was a grown-up, therefore, problem solved. Who knows how it will go. Sorry about my French screen name. That explains so much because, French is like chicken scratch to my brain. That is one language where I'm just like, bruh, absolutely not. Like, I don't know what that says. 5997. Yes, Savette, I know. I was born in 1979. Stop making me feel old. Listen. I literally thought Yoshiatsu was like around my age. So I was like, oh, he's born in the 90s. And then I saw how old he was. I was like, oh my God, he's 38? I can't even conceptualize, like, I mean, I'm sure 5997, like, when you look at an 18-year-old, they look like babies. Like, even the 20-year-olds, because I live in, like, a college town, or I guess you could say 10 minutes from a college town, even they look like babies. Like, the younger 20-year-olds, they look like, like, they look like children. So I cannot imagine what a 18-year-old looks like to somebody who is almost 40. That is wild. Because even for me, I'm just like, ugh, they look like high schoolers. It's just wild. But that's why, I mean, there's a name for that type of attraction. He wouldn't be the first person dating 18, 19-year-olds. Oh my God, I just realized that I'm a year younger than the victim. 2008. Like, it's insane. Let me see. Oh yeah, dude. Okay, let's talk about the spamming comments. Okay. Because this is unnecessary. Again, gotta humanize Yoshiatsu. Some people may hate that, but hey, it is what it is. Like, this is unnecessary. People are putting, Yoshiatsu's not dead. In his Instagram comments, somebody took a screenshot and they were like, you guys are so disgusting. Comments like this on for commenting stuff like this on Yoshiatsu's post. The girl is of legal age. Both parties consented. Do your research before harassing bandmen. And under his page, like his post, you can see somebody say, yo, all underage Yoshiatsu fans, he loves y'all too. There's proof of him dating a teenage girl. It's like, okay, but elaborate. 18, obviously when you say teenage girl, people aren't immediately going to think like 18. They're going to think like 13, 14. Like, they're going to make it young first before they make it older. So I think there are people that are swarming him in a way that is going to make his image way worse and is going to make this blow up way worse than, what it could have been had this information came out differently. Because obviously, like I said, I have my qualms about somebody 18 dating somebody that's 38. I do look at you like, yeah, man, you're a predator. You are a predator. That's what you are. But it's like, sometimes when rumors spread or when information comes out, people start labeling things that they aren't, right? Again, I made the distinction. He's not a PDF. By the actual definition of the word, he is not a PDF. But people will take that word and throw it around and start calling him that when that's not what he is. That has a completely different connotation. You dating, not even dating, you preying on somebody that's like 8 or 7 is completely different than you being a predator to somebody who's like 17 about to be 18 or 18. Like, it's just like more like frowned upon, right? Not like you're gonna get arrested. And I even saw a comment. I saw a comment that was interesting. Somebody was in a TikTok commenter. The TikToker who talked about Yoshiatsu being a part of like the kink community, and people just don't understand that he's a part of the kink community, and that's why this is okay, you know. Basically that was the gist of the video, and I was like, okay, how old are you? Very young girl. So I could see, especially with the younger crowd, why they would be so quick to jump on the aspect that the person is 18 and not younger, rather than being like, hey, even though the person's 18, this is still mad weird. I understand it from a younger audience, but once you make it to my age, dude, or even 5997's age. I'm sorry, I had to go there. 1979? Oh my god, you're so cool. Wait, how long have you been a Visual K fan for? Now I admire you. You could give me some like information. 1979. I forgot my point. Oh, my point was that like younger people, I expect younger people to just not understand. If you're like 12 through like 2023 even, I do expect you to while out and be like, oh, well, why are you guys doing this to him? There's nothing weird. They're consenting adults. There's nothing wrong with this dynamic. I completely expect it. But it's weird. And when you, especially if you're because this seems to be a common issue with men, but especially if you're a woman, in most cases, because there are very weird predatory women as well, in most cases you'll get to a point when you get older that you realize that how predatory this dynamic is. It may take some time, you know. For some people, they wish that they were in this situation, you know, because they like Yoshiatsu a lot, you know, and they kind of see themselves in the person. They're like, hey, if I was 18, you know, I'm an adult, and Yoshiatsu was like, hey, come with me. You know, I'd be like, I take him up on the offer because I'm an adult. I make my own decisions. I can do what I want. But yeah, that's not, it's I was going to say frownable. Is it illegal? No. But it's frownable. It's frownable. And I do think there's something I'm going to mention about the age aspect of the situation. Give me 1 second. Early 2000s, but I took a huge gap after my favorite band disbanded around 2009. Okay, yay, look at you. Misère. It's pronounced misère. Stop. Yep. My French is awful, and just expect it to be awful every single time. It's not improving. Somebody was like, well, why don't you look up the names and like try them? I've tried and they just don't stick. French is not my strong suit, guys. French is not my strong suit. There was something I wanted to mention about give me a second to think. I almost have it. About him questioning her age. There was a comment that supposedly he made, basically saying that like not to tell him her age. And if you remember in the story, specifically, he got upset when somebody lied and said that the girl was 16 years old. Now, I do believe that Yoshiatsu has enough common sense to know that going lower than 18 is not a good idea. And I think, I mean, obviously the relationship between the victim and Yoshiatsu was already volatile by this point, but I think that was like the straw that broke the camel's back, because it's like the fact that somebody else is DMing me, somebody random, right? Because the best friend had already messaged Yoshiatsu, and Yoshiatsu was like, hey, how much does this girl know about us? The fact that a third person came and was like, hey, actually this person is 16. I think that added some, there was like a smack of like the situation that he could possibly be in. It's like a smack in the face. It's like, hey dude, this can actually cause some bigger issues. If that's the case, which, you know, maybe at one point he was just like, wait, maybe this girl actually is 16. Therefore, this is significantly worse than it already really is. Like I said, I don't think in Japan they feel like it's a big deal as much as we do. So maybe the thought process is a little different. But I do understand, or how do I say? I don't think that he would go lower. I think he has enough common sense to know that 18 is where it's like, okay, you know, this we can do a little something with this, but that's just my assumption. That's what I think. So let me see. Let me find the. Yeah, people need to elaborate when they're like, "Oh, he's dating a teenage girl." That's true, but 18 is not the teen that people typically think of when they say teenage girl. Even though 18-year-olds are teens. Let me see. I had a post that was about age, but I don't know if I actually printed it on here. What the hell is he talking about? I'm sorry. Interesting. Yeah, I don't think the person who posted these messages, I don't think they wrote them, because if you, is there a nicer way I can say this now that I've had time to talk? If you read what they posted versus these messages are actual conversations, and they're not like written in the same manner, if that makes sense. Like, I'll be nice. I'm not gonna say nothing mean. But I don't think the person who posted these made these. That's all I'm gonna say. I do think they scratched out a whole bunch of stuff though. If you look at the pictures. Nope, I'm not gonna find it. Okay. Anyways, I do think Yoshiatsu was concerned about the person's age, and I think he realized that 18 was fine. Any younger than that's going to be a problem. And I think it was a major turnoff when that person told them or lied and said that Chloe was 16. I think that kind of made him go, oh my God, like, if there is a chance that she's actually 16, this may become a bigger issue. And that's why he kind of like supposedly cut her off for good. Because for me, the whole situation's ill, but it's also, I think in his case, it's just like, ooh, like, this may end up being a bigger issue than it could have been. Because again, I have a feeling that in Japan, they just don't take that as seriously as we do. Like 18, it's like, oh, okay, you're 18. I'm 38. It's fine. It's fine. And the person mentioned, allegedly, that they feel like the Fukuro members were aware, like Fukuro, and they also mentioned Takashi, who's in the band now. They mentioned that they felt like they knew her friend was 18, but I don't think that's significant if it's like, who cares? Like, you know what I mean? Like, if they're in Japan and this is like, that's not really a big deal here. I don't think they would care about that. I think they would be like, this is kind of odd, but you know, you're 18. There's a lot of people who think that way. Not me, but I can see it. Okay. Did Yoshiatsu or band members confirm anything yet? I haven't seen anything. Nope. We're still working on the base, the 2 PR messages that they put out. But somebody let me know, Big Forehead, that one of the companies is European, so I'm hoping that it will be handled in a way that satisfies the public. I don't know if it can be, but I think ideally, I'm trying to think of what the ideal way of handling this would be if the allegations are true, like, which the victim did say they dated, and did give their birth year. So I'm just going with the fact that, hey, he did date an 18-year-old, frowned upon, very frowned upon, but technically not illegal, right? Ideally, I think it would be good for him to be like, yeah, I did do that. I don't think lying at this point, or being like, I don't know what I would want, how I would want the situation to pan out, or I can't imagine a way where this situation pans out to where his reputation isn't damaged, or the band's reputation isn't damaged, Fukuro and drugs. But for me to be satisfied, maybe him come out and be like, hey, you know, I did date this person. They were 18 at the time. And then something, blah, blah, blah. I understand the disappointment, blah, blah, blah. I will try to do better, blah, blah, blah. You know, the usual, I messed up, but I'll do better message. That's what I would like to see as far as like something that would be the best case scenario. Saying it's not real at all and it never happened, aside, like completely putting aside what the victim even came forward and said, which the victim again said they did date, I don't think that would be a good decision. But then again, him confessing and saying he did date an 18-year-old, that also probably wouldn't be a good decision. I don't know how they're going to get out of this. But do I think he deserves to lose his entire music career and everything he's built up to this point because he dated somebody 18? My answer is no. And I understand that I hold some bias because I like Fukuro's music. I've been following Yoshiatsu for a while. I think he's very talented. I think he's a great performer. I mean, I was there for the Dadaroma album. He is a really big figure in the visual kei scene. He's very talented. I want to see Fukuro grow bigger and go on to make future works. I don't believe that this controversy should prevent him from continuing to make music. So I just picture a confession, a confession crafted in the most my bad, won't do it again way, or like, hey, I genuinely fell for this person, or I don't know, something, but just downright being like, oh, we found nothing, it was all fake. I don't think they should go about it that way, especially when the victim has come out and said that they dated. Mind you that they were an adult when they dated, but that they did date. To be honest, him losing his career for something like that is super unlikely, at least domestically. I think domestically it wouldn't be a problem. But internationally is what I'm worried about. I don't know, like, if this were a controversy in the past, because, again, Yoshiatsu has been in other controversies. If this was, like, an older controversy back when the internet was a little different, then I could see people being able to get over it more easily. But at this state of the internet, particularly with Fukuro trying to appeal to an international audience and drugs, I won't count drugs in there. I think drugs is just doing whatever. If they get domestic support only, I don't think they would care. So let's talk about Fukuro. I think Fukuro is trying to appeal to an international audience. But I do think that is going to take a hit. And it's going to take a couple of years for them to rebound. Like, to rebound from that. And they may hit a ceiling to where they don't recover from this. I hope they don't. I think there's other members in the band too. Like, I don't want this to become a bigger thing where it's just like, oh, band's over now. Yoshiatsu messed up. Couldn't stop dating the teenagers. I don't think he deserves to lose his whole livelihood because of this situation. And that is on the technicality that this person was 18. Yeah, dude. If they could just stop dating teenagers, that would just make life so much easier. Wait, no. Domestically, they genuinely, in comparison to other bands as of right now, are struggling. Chairmeyer? How do you pronounce your name? Charmeyer. You're messing with my brain, dude. Domestically, they genuinely, in comparison to other bands as of right now, are struggling. I mean, listen, I'm here in America, and I'm not in Japan. So I'm going to take your word for it. Charmer? Ain't no way. Okay, I doubt this will change much within Japan, but internationally, yeah. Yeah, I think Japan's just going to do what Japan does. I mean, like I said, they gotta deal with which they're not dealing with. They got to deal with the fact that people were actually messing with underage kids and older women. All the demographics of women are being are being messed with. They got other stuff going on. But yeah, my main point, give me a second, I'm bummed out. Kayla Roma bummed me out when I heard about the situation. You know, I listen to Fukudo every day. I did have to not listen to them today. Like I said, I don't think I have a problem with the situation of him dating somebody super young, and it does make me look at him differently, slightly, because I've heard other stuff. It makes me see him differently. But as I mentioned previously, I don't think a person is evil just because a certain aspect of their life they're doing bad things in, you know? That sounded really crazy. But just because somebody's doing something crazy and kind of messed up in one aspect of their life, that doesn't mean in the areas of the other areas of their life they're not doing well. Doesn't mean they're not a great family member, not a great friend, not a great performer. And I don't know this man. I've only seen like 2 or 3 aspects of his personality. One of them is a performer. Another one is his romantic life has has had some previous issues. But I'm not canceling Yoshiatsu. So if you guys want to, are you canceling Yoshiatsu? I need to take a break from Fukudo though. I need to see how this pans out and see how the companies handle everything. Because it will be very telling, especially if he comes out and says something. Because I don't know if this is actually true. Somebody said that with every controversy that Yoshiatsu has had in the past, he has come out and said something, which I think if that is true, it's a very responsible way of moving. I just hope we don't get a whole bunch of BS. I don't think there's going to be a perfect way to handle this. There's no perfect way to handle this, especially if we are believing the victim when they say that they did date when, you know, they were 18. But I think there's worse ways to handle this. Like pretending it didn't happen or saying, hey, this is all fake. I don't think that's the way to handle it. Being like, yeah, I did date this person, really cared about them, you know, beef it up a little bit. Like, oh, you know, I met them when they were 18. The person's a legal adult. You know, people may not understand. You know, there's so many ways you can, like, doctor it up. Doctor it up. But as far as me seeing Yoshiatsu as an evil human being who should never make music again and, like, giving up on Fukudo as a band, I don't have it in me to do that. But I do look at him differently after this situation. I know people keep bringing up the old Tanuki stuff, which was proved to be fake years ago. Yeah, people are bringing up all kinds of stuff. The same thing was spread about Genki and other bandmen at the same time. Yeah, I also... See, so Tanuki... I've always said this about Tanuki. There's stuff that's real, fake, and manipulated. So, I do think a lot of things go on Tanuki that's just complete BS, and just a lot of angry girls trying to get back at bandmen. I think a lot of Tanuki is that. But I also need us to remember that we have parasocial relationships with these people. So it's very easy to convince us that stuff is not true. So no matter what kind of messed up stuff that bandmen do, to a degree, if there's not a certain level of evidence provided, or if the evidence is not legit enough, mentally we are going to take the path of you have nothing. So I just want us to be aware of that, because there have been there's so many visual kei bandmen, and as I was saying at the beginning of this, there are bandmen who have made it through visual kei without any crazy allegations. So when you have somebody who repeatedly keeps getting allegations of a similar nature, it does make you think, and it's okay to think. I know we really like these people, but it doesn't mean they're above doing harmful things, especially when they're in a position of power. So that's something that I always try to keep track of. You know, speaking more broadly, not just on Tanuki, because Tanaki's a mess, but I don't believe everything on Tanaki's fake. I believe there's some truth, there's some lies, and then there's some manipulated stories in between truths and in between lies. But I do want everybody in this situation to be mindful that to a certain extent we are starstruck. And if this was just any random man, I especially was thinking about that with the way the younger fans are defending him. If this was, because they hate age gap relationships. I don't know if you guys are on other areas of the internet, but the younger people are not doing the age gap relationship. It doesn't matter if you're 25 and the person's in their 40s. It doesn't matter if you're in your 30s and the person's in their 50s. Like, the younger generation does not receive age gap relationships well. So it's been very interesting to see the difference in the reaction when it's somebody that they like or look up to, or have like a parasocial connection with. I really think the reason why people are able to say that it's not a problem is because it's Yoshiatsu. And I sympathize with that. I mean, obviously I have feelings and connections to Fukuro Yoshiatsu, as well. But there's also an awareness that there could be some areas in his life where he maybe isn't the best person, and it is what it is. I'm either going to stop listening to the music or I'm not. It's like, look at Leonardo DiCaprio and his age gaps. Yeah, that man is... Don't make me go on a rant. But isn't it... For Leonardo DiCaprio, first of all, ill. But also, isn't it like... Is it 25? There's one specific age where it's like all of the women he's ever dated have just been that one specific age, and then he breaks up with them. I think it's 25. Yeah, like Leonardo DiCaprio and his age gaps, which is gross. But it's still like 25, girl, do what you gotta do. What they usually say on my side, get the bag. You're 25, your brain's almost there. If not, depends on the person, I'm sure, but like your brain is either there or almost there. You're gonna govern yourself way better compared to somebody who's like freshly 18. I cannot even imagine. Ugh. Like, 18-year-olds look so young. Like, I see 20-year-olds and they look so freaking young, so I cannot imagine. Like, ugh. It was either 25 or younger. Yep. Misa 935. 25. Leonardo DiCaprio scrapping the old models for new. Kayla Roma. Okay, I'm going to catch up on comments. What Yoshiatsu did allegedly is still weird. Yeah, it is weird. Absolutely. I think it's weird. I think it's predatory. There's no world in which a 38-year-old... You're almost 40! There's no world where a 38-year-old should be engaging with an 18-year-old at all. It's completely unacceptable to me. But to the law, I mean, she's 18. It's so again, I feel like it's a flaw in his character. But do I believe like he's the epitome of evil and the worst thing to walk the earth? No, I don't. I think he has just some issues in his romance love life. He needs to get it together because I'm tired. Aren't you guys tired? You see. Give me a second, guys. I'm gonna catch up with oh, I gotta plug this in. All right, let me get my charger real quick. Bear with me, then I'll read all the comments. Where'd I put my charger? Oh my god, let me turn this air conditioning off. It's cold. Oh my god, yes, I'm on time. I was like, I'm probably gonna be live until like 10 something, and it's almost 10 something. Give me a second, guys. Wait, what is that? Well, I'm out of plugs. How many more plugs? Wait, do I have a plug down there? I gotta plug in my tablet on YouTube, guys, before I lose you guys. Ugh. turn off this air conditioning because I'm cold and it's been running for the past several hours. Where's the remote? I'm freezing. I put it beside me. Okay. Oh, it's freezing. Okay, I'm gonna catch up now. Oh, I guess I don't need that. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna start with YouTube. Yo, that was wild where she was just like, paraphrasing, I've been through more than you. Like, girl, she's the one that actually dated Yoshiatsu. What do you mean you've been through more? You've been through worse than... I don't know, if you're on TikTok and you're coming in a little late, I have my entire overview of this situation on YouTube, so you will be able to watch it from the beginning, because I covered a whole bunch of points. Big Forehead, I think you came in a little late. I covered a bunch of points, my perspectives on how I feel about the dating gap, humanizing Yoshiatsu, trying to still humanize him, what the victim said, what the friend said. I covered a lot of different things. But the fact that the friend was like, you don't know what I've been through. I didn't get an apology. You never apologized. I'm like, ooh, this doesn't sound like it had that she had the ex-friend's or Chloe's mental health in mind while posting all this. You guys got to be careful who you confide in. You know, maybe this is not appropriate for me to say, but y'all got to get better friends. Like, because, ew, why are you spreading your friend's business? Like, okay, so say this was just something completely different, okay? I understand we want to know this. This is information that we should know. But say this was a completely different situation where somebody was dating a bandman and they wanted to keep it, like, under wraps for whatever alternative reason. Like, y'all got to be careful who you're telling your business to, because people are vicious. They'll, like, hold things and, like, come out with them because they're seething on the inside. And the way the whole description was, the way all of the text was written, it was like, okay, you're ranting, you're telling the story, but also it just seems like very mean-spirited. It seems like you didn't have your friend's mental health. Are you sure? Because she said she was born in 2006. So she's 19 now. But if the dates, and she said she was born in October. So she's 19 now. She's about to turn 20 this year. But it's still, what do we say? What's the word that we learned? We learned the word for dating teenagers. I don't remember. I usually just remember the PDF one because that's the one everybody talks about. It's still a phoebophilia. That's when you're dating people between the ages of 15 and 19. Very unusual. Still not okay. But I'm pretty sure they said they were born in 2006. Sorry, 2006? Is that right? Yeah, 2006. October 2006. So right now that would place them at 19. They will be turning 20 this year. And given the dates that the relationship happened, 18 would be around the age that they would be at. Which, 18, 19, it's an adult. It's still mad weird. Don't get me wrong, it's still weird. But yeah, dude. Stay away from the teenagers. I think it's just going to be a battle between people who are just like, does it make you an inherently evil person dating somebody that young? So it's going to be a battle between people who feel that it does inherently make you evil to date somebody that young and people who don't feel it. For me, I've already pleaded my case. I like to believe that there are more human aspects to people other than the things that I highly disapprove of. Until they show me like multiple problematic aspects. It seems like other areas of his life are together. it seems. Okay, sorry guys. I'm just scrolling away. It feels like it was grooming, but definitely not PDF. Especially if he knew she was mentally unstable. I do want to emphasize that this person had a highly chaotic life. And usually when you're somebody like that, you are in a very mentally vulnerable state. So I feel like that kind of escalates the situation. Maybe this person isn't the most stable to begin with because their home life isn't, the best that it could be. They're smoking, they're drinking, and they're not in a good headspace. Regardless, teenagers are very easily manipulated. So just imagine somebody who's already in that headspace and isn't doing well and doesn't have a good home life. Like, they're already primed for making somebody their whole world, like making somebody like their God, honestly. But that's your responsibility as an adult to understand like those dynamics and why it's not a good choice to date somebody, no matter how intrigued you are by them, no matter how they look, no matter how much you're like, oh, they're so pure and innocent, and oh, I'm a monster and I'm gonna get you. Oh, like, no matter how much that's writhing on the inside of you, bruh, just get somebody 20, 21, 22. I'm still gonna look at you sideways, but come on, man. It's just a better look. See. I'm reading this again. 20s aren't great, but they're better than a damn teenager. Yep. No 18, no 19. Like, nah, quit it. Okay, sorry guys. I wish I had saved a lot of Yoshiatsu's IG stories because sometimes he writes very, very odd stuff about being a villain and stuff like that. I think it's like I said, I think he's in a part of the, I think he's part of the kink community. I think there's a little bit of that in there, and I think he put some of that stuff in his writing. There is an aspect to that is true. As I said before, somebody made a video about it and was like, it's just kink. You guys wouldn't understand why he's dating an 18-year-old. It's the norm. Okay. There are predators in that community as well. And they do swarm after freshly 18 people, or just 18-year-olds in general, 18, 19, like they're swarming. And that's because they're weird men. Oh my God, you guys see my bed? Well, you guys see how messy it is? I had to change the sheets because I did something super stupid. I put a candle on my bed, but I had it on a plate, okay? And I was drawing, and the wax got all over my sheet. Not a good choice. Okay. People forget grooming is not synonymous with PDF. Yeah, it's not. It's completely different. He won't be able to get out of it either way because there's two different parties that believe completely different things. Yeah, Kirong. It's gonna be tough. I do think he can bounce back. I do think he can bounce back from this because of a lot of devoted fans. And there are people who understand why the situation is still not okay, but will still be willing to support him. And Fukuro, and drugs. There are people there. And for me, I may have to take a break. Like I said today, I listen to Fukuro every day. I couldn't listen to Fukuro today. I just couldn't. I listen to Chocolate War every day I've listened to Chocolate War every day since it's come out. And I couldn't do it today. I was just like, ooh, we're gonna have to turn you off. And I just need time to process. I just need time to process because it is an issue for me. That age gap is an issue for me. But at the same time, I'm seeing the whole of the person, not just a piece of the person. And I don't know him enough to label him an evil person because of that very, very awful choice. And if you weren't in here earlier, I told a story about somebody that is literally the most empathetic person I've ever met in my entire life. And I found out that they at the age of like late 20s, honestly 29, they might as well be 30, had relations with an 18-year-old, and I was so disappointed in him. And I was just like, how can you, who is so empathetic of other people and who moves in this way, like in this way that I've literally never seen before in a human being, how can you put somebody that young in a situation like that? And it's I've met worse too. I remember I was in Thailand and I met this guy, very nice dude from South Africa. And I hung out with him and stuff, and he was just very sweet. Not a lot of people in the hostel were talking. And he just came up to me and he started talking to me, and he was very chatty. And he gave me some Korean skincare because he wasn't using it. And he was telling me how he taught in Vietnam for a while, and just a couple odd things happened. But he was telling me the story about like his ex-boyfriend and like his love life. And he just casually mentioned when he was in his 20s, he was dating a 16-year-old. And the 16-year-old requested that they open the relationship up. And I was forming a pit in my stomach. And I know other countries, things work differently in other countries. I don't know how the landscape is in South Africa when it comes to dating people who are 16 when you're like in your 20s, but that's gross. Regardless, I don't care. But as he was telling me that story, he was telling it so casually. And I was just like, we are truly living in a world where like people just date teenagers. And the fact that your ex at the age of like 16 requested that they open a relationship. Imagine how your ex was feeling. Like they're growing, they're changing, and then there's you over them. And you're just like, well, what do you mean? Aren't I enough? This person's 16. Every single year they're going to be changing. Their brain is going to be developing. It was just gross. And they asked to open up their relationship after a couple years, like after 3 years. So at that point they were 16, 17. They were 19 and they were like, hey, I'm curious about being with other people and I would like to open a relationship. And the guy was talking to the South African guy. He said, I decided that we could open the relationship, and then the other guy and him got too close. And I was thinking in my mind, I was like, well, damn, you didn't even give him a chance to develop. So yeah, him and the other guy got close because you've literally been blocking him off. You preyed on him, basically. Like, ugh. But other than that person was a swell person. So that's what I mean. Obviously, I didn't know him as well. But you have situations where people are good in certain areas of their life, and then other areas, they're not so good. Another example of somebody that I felt like was the scum of the earth was this Korean man. I was coming out of the club when I was in, I think I was in Hong, was I in Hong? Oh, I was in a Hongdae. Don't be mad at my reaction. But it's a bunch of early 20-something-year-olds in Hongdae. So it's like, I wouldn't be caught dead there. Itaewon. I was in Itaewon, right? I was coming out the clubs. There was this white dude who called me. He was in front of like a supermarket. He called me to drink with him, and he was mourning, and he was like very distraught and sad. He was like, "Can you drink with me?" And I was like, "Sure, I'll sit down. I'll drink with you." I like to club hop, and then my friends like stay in one club, so I just club hop and just do my thing solo, right? He was just like, he was talking to me, and he was like, "You know what happened to me? I lost the best thing that a man could ever have." And I was like, "What?" He was like, "I had an 18-year-old Korean girlfriend and she dumped me." And I was like, "So you were dating a teenager?" And he was like, no. He was like, "Well, you don't understand. Like, the way men's brains develop is slower than what." So he just went into this spiel about how men mentally develop differently than women. And I was just like, yeah, man, absolutely not. Because I didn't know that man, I did label him in my mind as the scum of the earth. Because it's like, the best thing a man could ever ask for, you're emphasizing that that's the best thing a man could ever ask for. He was in his 30s, by the way. An 18-year-old Korean girl. And we don't even know if she was 18-year-old by Korean. I think back then they were still doing a different number system. We didn't even know if it was 18-year-old by Korean standards. How long he knew her. Did they break up when she was 18? And then he met her when she was sick. Who knows? Who knows? But it takes all kinds. People are flawed. I don't think people are evil just because they make poor choices in life. And I'm not labeling Yoshiatsu as an evil person just because he made this choice. And again, that's if you're believing the victim when the victim says they dated at either Rihanna, I'm going to say 18, 19, or 18 or 19 years old. Dating teenagers is weird. Dating teenagers is weird. But, you know, there's so many other parts of Yoshiatsu that we don't know about. We don't know if he's like a flat out evil person. $59.97. Yeah, because the world doesn't let us doesn't let us women stay young because we're sexualized and groomed and preyed on. Literally. And it's all over the globe. I can't even tell you what I saw when I went to Bangkok. It was awful. Like Thailand, it was awful. I was like, wow, there are literally places where it's just so normalized. So normalized. But we definitely, Ghoulie 5, but we definitely need to hold people accountable and remind them why. Yes, we do need to remind people that it's not okay, specifically because the damage that it does to the mental development of teenagers. For me, that's the main aspect. You're in a place of power. I'm not even going to say in most, let's say in most cases, let's present the idea that possibly there's a realm where somebody in their late 30s can fall in love with an 18-year-old. Even saying it sounds gross. You know, you have to think about the damage that you're doing to this person. In most cases, you're not going to be with this person for life. They're going to continue to grow. They're going to change throughout life. You intercepting them before they have a time to grow their brain is a problem. So no, it does not need to be normalized, because literally 18 is like you're a fresh adult. You just turned into an adult and you're not even thinking correctly. And the emotional turmoil that person is going through is completely different because their brain cannot handle the same things emotionally that you can. Your brain is not able to regulate the same way when you're a teenager as when you're in your 30s. So it's like you're literally doing damage to people before they have a chance to finish growing. It's freaking sick. And it's like under the technicality where it's like, well, they're legal. What? Okay, so you want sex. Find somebody older, please. Because it's basically what it is. And again, the dynamic that we talked about where I do think there's a dynamic of innocence, preying on innocence, and that gets some people hot and bothered. But I like the preying on innocence too. It's just with people who are not having a huge age gap like that, okay? We can do the preying on innocence in some other type of way. But for a lot of men, it really is that. There's dudes in their 20s dating 15, 14-year-old girls. It's so weird. Yeah, dude. I remember there was this girl that I met in the 9th grade. Her name was Elizabeth, and I thought she was so cool because she would wear belly shirts, and belly shirts were not allowed in our school. And she was an Italian girl. She always had her hair in a ponytail. And I remember she gave me a compliment. She complimented my teeth. And she complimented my teeth during a time where my type of teeth were not considered cool. So I always was like, oh, I want braces. I want braces. And I want to change my teeth. And I want them to be different than the shape they are, right? That I was born with. And I remember one time she told me a joke and I started laughing. And she was just like, oh my God, your teeth are so pretty. Let me see it again. Let me see it again. And I smiled and she was just like, man, if I had those teeth, I could bite the hell out of someone. And you know, she just made me feel like my teeth were nice. And this is 9th grade, but I remember she was telling me about a relationship she had, and she was dating a 24-year-old, and I didn't make note of it. She was talking about her boyfriend issues, and she was like, yeah, you know, he's 24. He's not, you know, in school, in high school. And just the casualness in her mentioning that, and me being in ninth grade and her being in ninth grade, fresh out of middle school, by the way, I carried that with me. And now that I'm older, like when I was younger, I was just like, I just didn't really think too much about it. But now that I'm older, I'm just like, you just got out of middle school and you were dating a 24-year-old. Like, they be getting them young. Like, young and impressionable. Like, and she didn't seem like she had the best home life. And the reason why nobody ever told her she didn't get put in, like, detention for wearing her belly shirts and stuff is because she would curse people out. Now I know. I'm just like, oh, they don't want to mess with her because they didn't want her. She was so sweet, but she would curse you out. They didn't want to mess with her, but she would wear belly shirts every single day. Every single day. And this was back when the kids were wearing more clothes. So this was not the norm. We had to have our shirts over our stomachs, but not her. She had a belly ring and, crop top, very crop, and she would wear like a baggy sweater over it, and it would just be like the sweater, and she just looked so cool to me. I was like, I admire her. But she was dating a 24-year-old, and it's sad, like, especially when I think back to how old we actually were, like how my thoughts in the ninth grade, I don't even think I was forming like full mature thoughts in the ninth grade. I was just like, oh yeah, Roxas X Axel. Which was still not appropriate, It was like Kingdom Hearts, Yowie. Computer. Let me see. Give me a second. Because younger people were easier to manipulate. Yep. Ghoulie 5, and that turns a lot of people on. And, I'll be honest with you guys, like, I do think there is there's an inherent, not an inherent, because it depends on the person. I do think it's okay, depending on the situation, to be attracted to somebody who's slightly younger than you, slightly, and inexperienced. I think inexperience can be a turn on. I think being attracted to somebody who's slightly younger than you can be a turn on. But there's just a limit. There's just a limit. Because even I'll read stories where, I was reading a story the other day, actually. It was a BL manhwa. Where, there's this guy, they have a size difference. The older dude looks younger, and then the younger guy is older. They both look of age. I think one was 23 and the other one was 27. And I did find it attractive that, like, the bigger guy was younger. But there's a limit. There's a limit. It was the older dude who didn't have any experience and was, like, short and cute. So there are elements of it that can be attractive. But again, there are limits. Are you actually damaging people mentally? Okay? Finding somebody pure and uncorrupt, it's like, okay, fine. If that's the thing that gets you going, that's fine. But 20 plus years younger? Mm-mm. You don't need to get that fix amongst the teenagers. You need to, I don't know what you need to do. I don't know if you remember Amino, but that app was a breeding ground for it. I experienced grooming, but at the time never thought it was wrong until, like, I turned 17. Yeah, dude. And it takes time for that type of stuff. But anyways, okay, I'm sorry I'm neglecting TikTok. I'm sorry. Kind of sad, but not surprised. Yep. It seems like Yoshiatsu's bands as a whole have been a massive blind spot for me, but Fukuro is scheduled to perform with Dolly. Ooh, Dolly! I heard that Dolly is doing a tour, and I'm so excited. I don't know why I said tour that way. Tour. Doing a tour. Am I saying that weird? Maybe not. Oideo, Udes. Oh! They're doing a tour with them as well? That's a newer group, right? Well, they're not new. They changed their name. The group that wears the plaid. That song, is it like Sugar or something? That's such a beautiful song. Texas Banga, good to see you. My friend was working for Killing Days, so she was excited for me to experience their live for the first time. Yeah, dude. It is a bummer that they're canceling like all their tours, but can you imagine? Big Forehead. I'm gonna go bye. Bye, Big Forehead. I'm sorry for neglecting you also. Like, juggling both chats is hard. But bye. If you have any other things you would like to say to me, don't be afraid to DM me, okay? I hope you have a good night. I never heard of Dolly. Yeah, Dolly, like, did Dolly come out in the early 2000s? I feel like they came out in the early 2000s. Oh yeah, they definitely came out in the early 2000s. I'm always worried that, like, a band I mentioned will come out during that sweet spot of, like, 1999 or 1998, but I'm pretty sure Dolly was early 2000s. Yeah, they're like an early 2000s band. I like a couple of their songs. I just didn't expect them to, like, pop back up, you know? But I would check them out. I would check out Dolly. Let me see. Okay. My friend. Okay. Dolly came out around 2006, 2008. Texas Bong. Yeah, thank you. On a lighter note, any VK songs you'd recommend for the summer? I haven't listened in a while. Ooh, am I capable of thinking anything right now? Bro, I've just been listening to a lot of Bue. Like, that is literally one of my favorite bands, and Batsu's not even in Bue anymore. I think Bue's disbanded. BUE, for those that don't already know, the lead singer of Mamireta had a band called Bue, and I've been just binging Bue's music. That's not light for the summer, though. I feel like Orsees, Orseas, Orsees. They have an album. I think they only have one full album, so I forgot the name, but Orsees is a little light for the summer, I feel like. Orsees is pretty cool. I like Orsees. But I've been listening to the same stuff, dude. I feel bad. I can't give you guys anything new because I've been listening to Bue, Mamireta, Orsees. I was listening to a lot of Fukuro. Like I said, I'm going to have to take a break. Zaza. The song that they released recently, the PV that they released recently, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. They're so good at, like, everything. Oh, I love Zaza. It makes me want to gush. What else have I been listening to? I've been listening to a lot of Eminence. I know it's not the same. It's obviously not Visual K, but dude, they're coming back because some of you guys know, Jiluka and Eminence did a tour together, right? There was Eminence, and then Jiluka was one of the openers. And I didn't get into Eminence until, like, learning about them after seeing Jiluka, right? They're so good. Like, and they're coming back. I'm so excited. I'm gonna go see Eminence, and it's like, when I listened to their album, I was just like, oh my god, this is like my dream music. Like, this speaks to me. It speaks to my chat. Like, they're amazing. If I'm not mistaken, Eminence is European. European? I don't know what country. Honestly, Oideo Yurezu is very light and fun. Yeah, they are. I like them a lot, Texas Banya. I'm supposed to be doing a video on the PB that they made. I can't think of the name of it, but the most recent one that they put out. It's so, like, the contrast of the lightness of the music versus how they look. I really love that. And sometimes I'm not always in the mood for lighter music, but I think I need to chill with the metal because I need something light as well. Because, again, like I said, my playlist has just been Bue, Mamireta, Zaza. Lots of screaming. Lots of screaming. And then I did a revisit for Maximum the Hormone, which has been amazing. I'm planning on making a video for them too. Have I been listening to anything light? I've recently been trying to get into Tanzanian electronic music, so we'll see how that pans out. But just the usual, the Vietnamese rock, One of my favorite Japanese bands came out with a nice slow summer. I got a summer album for you. It may be slow. But there's a band I did a review on them before. They're called Miz, M-I-Z. They're slow acoustic guitar music. They came out with a full album in April, and somehow I missed it. Like, they did the first couple. You know how they release a couple tracks first, and then release the whole album. I listened to the first couple tracks, and I just completely missed the fact that they released the whole album. So I was in my car, one of the songs came on, and I was like, I've never heard this song before. And I listened to everything that this band releases, so that's not right. There's no way music exists that I have not touched from this band yet, because it's impossible. I listen to everything they make. And then I realized they released the whole album in April. So M-I-Z, Miz, they released an album. It is in Chinese. Yeah, it is Chinese, right? Taiwan? They speak Chinese. Mandarin? Yeah, dude. They speak Chinese. There's no other word for Chinese, right? There's no distinct difference between the Chinese. I know there's Taiwanese, but I think that's a separate language. You know what? They were working with they were in Taiwan. So that's why the title of the album is in Chinese. But yeah, that's a good summer album. Let's see, give me a second. Oh yeah. Let me stop neglecting. Did my chair just break? I am not that big. Oh, okay. I was about to be so offended. I've been exercising, okay? I've been exercising every day. I ended up falling in love with them more than Jilica. Oh, are you talking about? Oh, Eminence! Dude, the violin, because I'm somebody, I say this all the time, I'm somebody who likes soft sounds and hard sounds at the same time, right? There's a song that you guys should check out if you haven't heard. It's with Kyo from Deer on Grey and Sugizo. That song is the perfect example for the type of sound I like. And I love Kyo's voice. I just can't do Deer on Grey, right? So Kyo was a vocalist in one of the songs that Sugizo made. Sugizo has a whole bunch of albums on Spotify, so just try to find it. Type in Kyo, Sugizo, you'll find it. That song is so beautiful, and it's like soft, and then it gets a little hard. It's just perfect. That's my ideal type of music. The reason why I love Eminence so much is because the violin really brings in the softness. So when you have the violin, it's like, oh, it's so soft. And then you have the screaming and then the lyrics. Like, is it Return to the Black or something like that? That album, I listened to like half of the album. And then I restarted and listened to half of the album again. Like Eminence, I've become a real fan of Eminence. Only I'm a little bit nervous about going to see them live because I don't know the type of crowd they attract. I like to have a good idea of what type of crowd bands attract. I don't exactly know any. I did break it. I knew it. I knew I wasn't crazy. Look it. Well, technically, I mean, it is kind of broken. I don't even know how to. Okay, we're gonna just put that. I have another one. Take that. All right. I thought I was going crazy. I was like, did this thing just break on me? I gotta continue exercising, apparently. I forgot what I was saying, but yeah, Eminence is great. I can't wait to see them, and I do. Eminence is more of a genre fit than Jilica for me as well. You know, Jilica gets away with a lot because I'm not typically a metalcore fan, but like I said, I think I like the composition that they've been having recently. A lot of people hate it, but I think it's gotten catchier, and that's what I need. You're gonna pump me out some metalcore, please have it be catchy. That's the way I'm going to be able to get into it. Make it catchy with some screaming. Take it easy on the electronics sometimes, at least. I've been loving Azavana recently. Oh, dude, Hugs for Drugs. Yeah, dude. I did a binge of freaking Azavana, and I still listen to the same, like, 3 songs, though. Like I was listening to Morphine earlier today and I was like, oh, this song is so pretty. I typically will hyperfixate on the same songs, and then kind of branch out. I made an Instagram post about how I was obsessed with the song Creature by Kebio to the point where I learned it by heart. Like I literally would take the lyrics to work with me and practice half an hour every single day. So now I know Creature by heart, right? But for some reason, I heard Dokubody, and it just spoke to me one day. Like, I kid you not, I listened to that entire album, the Dokubody album. I listened to the whole album, and I was like, the only song I like on here is Creature. But then one day Dokubody played, and it was just so good. I think it's the drums. I think I just really like the drums for Dokubody. I had to kind of hyper focus and be like, okay, what is it that I like about this song? Why am I obsessed with it? The drums are so good in Dokubody. But yeah, I'm hyper fixated on Dokubody, and I haven't listened to Creature in a while. So, you know, my brain focuses on specific songs at specific points, and then it kind of just expands. And sometimes there's the possibility of me falling in love with a band so much that I'll listen to like an album over and over again. For example, I'm putting out a review of Schwarstein, spoiler for YouTube. I'm editing it, it's almost done. I'm putting out a review for Schwarstein, and chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. Like, is there any other music that is as beautiful as what I've witnessed? Oh my god. Yeah, dude. I'm trying to kind of still remain up to date with the current Visual K as best as I can. I think things are getting kind of better. I don't know if you feel how you feel about the Visual K climate right now, Texas Banya, but I feel very optimistic about it, especially with a lot of bands doing tours overseas and becoming more international. You know, of course, you're going to have your pros and cons when you're appealing to multiple audiences, but I feel very hopeful about Visual K right now. Solo Leveling sequel anime film announced. Oh, okay, that's my mutual posting about anime stuff. Zaza is my fave. Zaza is amazing. And like, I can't even begin to describe how amazing Zaza is. And they're just so good. Okay. Neglecting the chat, but I'm gonna read it anyways. Andy Taki. I hope you enjoy the suggestions that we've given you. Hopefully you find something nice. You can still come to Mexico to see Glam Scare. I have a song that I like by Glam Scare. I don't remember the name of it. Where's my phone? Aha! Let me see if I can find it. Didn't they release a PV recently? I haven't watched any of their new PV yet. But there's one song I like by them. I want to go to Mexico so bad. They're playing in Mexico? I want to go to Mexico so bad. I just want to visit. It may sound very odd, but I've always had like really good interactions with Mexican people. They're just like, is good-natured the word? I don't know. It's left an impression on me, so I'm like, I really want to visit and like see the source. I want to see their motherland, if that makes sense. Hopefully that's not a weird thing to say. It could be a weird thing to say, but I want to go there. I want to learn how to speak Spanish as well. K. Is this K Sierra Sierra? Please tell me I pronounced that right. K Sierra Sierra? Glam Scare? Yeah. That's the one song that I have. Let me see. I'll play it. This song. It's a pretty song. I think like that type of I guess neoclassical type of music I have a hard time attaching myself to that too, because I've listened to so much of it like growing up. So when a band comes across and they make something that kind of feels is giving neoclassical, a lot of times it doesn't appeal to me. But that song, very beautiful. Very beautiful. Have you seen, apparently her name isn't Chloe. Yeah, apparently her name was Aya, but I didn't want to put that on here. I'm gonna put the links to everything that I've mentioned in the video, in this video, YouTube video, in the description. Give me some time though. It may take me a day. I just wanted to do that. Give me some time. Being into certain bands and fan bases. Stop it. Fan bases these past few years has been a huge wake-up call for me. I should do a separate live to talk about Kizu. Never mind, it's 10:36. I shouldn't do that at all. I'm around that age and I would never, big forehead, and I would never date someone that old. I would assume they're a weirdo. Thank God someone has their wits about them. But Leo's current girlfriend is 27, so it's an improvement. Okay. Leonardo DiCaprio's dating a 27-year-old? Wow. Wow, I didn't know that. Okay, that is an improvement. I missed that earlier. Still quite young, but hey, man, that's better than the track record that was going on before. Let me see. Key wrong. I think I'm gonna hop off. Good night. Sorry I haven't been coming to live this. Oh no. Okay, listen, Key wrong. You're literally the reason why I started going live on YouTube, because you told me that you enjoyed my lives on TikTok, and you were like, "Oh, I'm gonna miss them. You know, I'm gonna miss your lives on TikTok." So I was like, "Why don't I start going live on YouTube?" So literally, you don't have to worry. These videos are still gonna be here if you would like to just view them and view what you missed. But no worries. No worries at all. Let me see. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say. Times have changed. Times have changed. Listen, if these bands are going to want to appeal to an international audience, they're going to have to move smarter. That's the last thing I gotta say. I will be giving Fuguro a break for a while, because again, I just morally it's an issue for me. But I don't have any like powerful angry emotions towards Yoshiatsu. It's more so disappointment. It's just like, dude, you need to chill out. You're a public figure. Find somebody older to date. Leave the teenagers alone. I know you have access to them because they want to be around you. They want to be in your company. You know, you're going to be a magnet for teenagers. You know, you're a rock star to an extent, right? Or like Fuguro rock. I know it's not rock, but you know what I mean. You're a performer. You're a visual K bandman. It's your responsibility as an adult to set boundaries. And you also need to move wisely if you are going to be worried about your reputation, okay? I'm sure you can find somebody that looks young who's in their 20s. You gotta have it. I'm sure you can find somebody who's young who they're so young. 20-something-year-olds look so young to me, and I'm only in my like early 30s. So get it together. Get it together. It's going to be interesting to see what type of message that we get from drugs and from the label, the European label that we were talking about earlier. I look forward to it. I'm curious how it will be handled, and I think there are incorrect ways to handle it. I can't think of any ideal ways to handle it. Like I said, I picture him confessing, and I'll be like, oh, okay, well, you know, It is what it is. But I don't think that's the ending that people want. They want an explanation. Like, they want an explanation. And I don't think any answer is going to be provided. This is all real. I don't think any answer is going to satisfy people, at least an international audience. I think it is going to be a blow to Fukudo, but they can build back up. Their music is good enough. Yeah, that's all I have to say. You see, Texas Banga, thanks for that then, because I don't use TikTok and I wouldn't have been able to get involved if not for YouTube. Yeah, I also realized that putting my lives on YouTube, because I talk about so many different bands and I talk about many different things, YouTube actually preserves it. So it makes sense for me to just put it on YouTube and do both. It's chaotic. It looks really crazy. I got my phone here. Sometimes the lighting on one phone is ugly and the lighting on my iPad is brilliant. And I'm just like frustrated, but it makes sense to, do this until I get a streaming platform or I pay for a subscription where I can multi-stream. And that way, I don't have to bounce from one comment section, other comment section, one comment section, other comment section. So I'm happy I could be here for the people that are on YouTube. I was thinking of maybe streaming sometimes on Instagram, but honestly, I can't compete. Like, Instagram tires me out. So that's probably never going to happen. Let me see. Misa 935. Me too. I didn't even know you did live streams before I saw it on YouTube. Yeah, it just started. Shout out to Kirong. They're gone. But Kirong was the one who inspired me to start streaming on YouTube. I didn't even think people were going to watch. I remember the first time I streamed on here, I didn't realize I had a comment section. Because it's like super janky. I don't know if you guys can see the comment section on your end, but it's kind of low budget. It's because I can't afford to upgrade. So when I started getting comments, I wasn't even reading them because I was like, people are watching? Like, what? Anyways, I got to get to work tonight on the Swarstein review I'm supposed to be posting. So I'm going to do that. And hello, Mau Mau. I'm about to hop off. I was just talking about Yoshiatsu for a couple hours, but I'm about to hop off. I'm tired. And I guess the important things to remember is, we're all human. I'm still thinking about 18 and 38. We're all human. We're all flawed. Some people are flawed more than others. And then some people are flawed in specific areas in their life where they shouldn't be flawed. I hope he gets it together. He gets it together and is more mindful of his actions in the future. You can't be dating teenagers, bud. Oh, Malmo, thanks for stopping by, though. Thanks for saying hi. I did, if you're interested in Malmo, I have this entire stream, provided you came in for the topic of Yoshiatsu and the allegations. I have this entire stream on YouTube. So if you want to watch it over there, it's Savet. Is it just Savet? Savet _ maybe? I don't know, dude. My throat's tired. And not for the right reasons. Oh, crap. I don't think TikTok would ban me for that. I probably shouldn't say stuff like that. Good night, guys. Good night. Gonna go take care of my... I'm gonna get off of TikTok first. Gonna go take care of my sheet that I spilled candle wax all over because I was irresponsible. Who puts a candle on a bed? I do. How do I get out of here? Bro, stop. Oh my god, I hate this. I cannot wait till I can just multi-stream. Like, this is pissing me off. Oh, stop. Okay. Maven Butterfly, see you next stream. Dude, I want to stream tomorrow. I want to talk about Kizu. And I had like a whole outline that I printed. I think it was just about Kizu. And then also somebody asked me a question about how I got into rock and metal. So I was going to do next stream. This is the overview of what I'm going to be doing next stream. Okay. How I got into rock and metal. That's what I'm going to talk about. new music videos. I was going to talk about Gertina and Zeke Do. I think it's Do. Zeke Do. I was going to talk about them, but somebody also asked me about Damned. I was going to talk about that. There's a lot of things I was going to talk about, but mostly Kizu and my feelings on them. Hiatus. I was going to say disbanding, and my brain was like, no, that's not right. My feelings on them going on hiatus. So, yeah, dude, that's going to be the next stream. I gotta talk about that. Because it's just in there, you know? Kizu was my favorite band. When I started trying to fully integrate into, like, the modern Visual K, and I kind of came back to it. Which reminds me, I gotta do another Visual K is Dead video and give an update on my current feelings on the Visual K climate right now. But back when I came into it, I was so disappointed and I was so annoyed, and I was like, there's not much going on here. And Kizu was like a beacon of light in the darkness in an almost comical sense. And now they're just like, oh, we're going on a hiatus, and I will describe how I feel about that next stream. So thank you guys for hanging with me. I know I can be rather long-winded. I didn't know this could work on Apple products. I thought they would just make me pay for the pin and make me suffer. It felt like talking to a wall the first hour of the stream. I'm sorry. Oh my god. Alright, night everybody. Bye-bye. Bye Texas Banya. Bye Hugs for Drugs. I love your name, by the way. And Misa935, if you're still there, thank you for watching. I know Kirong's gone. Ghoulie, if you're still here, thank you guys for watching. My bed again! Okay, I know, I have to wash my bed sheet so I don't look like a bum. I understand. Stop. Oh my god. Yeah. All right. Now how do I get off of here? Stop.